I'm putting my foot down. I refuse to pay for my stepdaughter's ill-timed wedding, and I don't care if she likes me or not. She can go back to her biological father for all I care. The title clearly states my issue. The day my decision to marry Marla was made, Lisa was accepted as my daughter, but life did not like my plan, I guess you could say. Our parents had always told us to listen to them for any matter. But we didn't, and they'd say we would understand their pain when we become parents one day. This could not be any more true. I dated a girl from college life and was about to marry her when life showed its true plans and took her away from me in a car accident. That trauma made me stay away from any form of attachment other than my own parents. Years later, as the trauma in me lost its grip and the fear subsides a bit, I met Marla, my wife. Marla made me fall in love all over again. She hit me with the same emotions that ran through my veins when love touched me the first time. She was such a nice person. We met in my office cabin as she came as a customer searching for the executive. By the time my liking for her turned to miss her when she wasn't around, it hit me. Love had once again entered my life. One day, Marla opened up to me about her previous marriage. Her husband, let's call him Robert, was a drunkard and lived upon Marla's money. One night, he hit Marla so hard that she started to bleed. Fearing she would die, Robert fled the house and was never seen again. Marla had a daughter too named Lisa. I realized my love for Marla was far more than anything, and thus my mind knew she needed care and love, and not hate for the past life. Thus, I accepted her with her past and Lisa's. When we got married, Lisa was a 15-year-old teenage girl. Marla took me how much she loved her father. The reason got more clear as Marla revealed that as she went out for her job, Robert would drink all day and keep Lisa's mouth shut. He'd buy her all sorts of junk food, spoiling her by buying things with Marla's hard-earned money. As of writing this, Lisa does not stay with me or Marla anymore, which isn't so news to us as we both have adjusted, although Marla's face shows her yearning for someone. Lisa, maybe. After our marriage, we settled at Marla's house since my salary did not suffice to buy a new one or even rent an apartment. Lisa wasn't happy that Mom brought a new husband. She'd call me all sorts of names and even a womanizer at times. But patience was the only solution. My job as an executive made me deal with so many people, so dealing with Lisa too was not the worst thing. All she needed was attention. At first, a good portion of my salary would go to satisfy her needs, but still, nothing mended our relationship at all. Lisa was stubborn as heck. She watched TV till late and ate all sorts of junk food. Heck, even missed school on most days, and misbehaved with both of us. One day, Marla called me on my office phone, and she clearly was not okay. She got a call from Lisa's school, and they had asked us to reach there immediately. As we went, we saw Marla lying senseless with marks all over her face. Upon her waking up, and with the help of her friends and teachers, the picture got horrifyingly clear. Lisa was dating a guy, and when he asked her to be intimate with her, she refused, resulting in the senior boy taking her to the male washroom and beating her up terribly. We filed a police complaint, and the boy's parents begged us for forgiveness, so we had to take the case back. But Marla was seriously upset at how Lisa hid all of it from her mother. But Lisa was still not ready to accept her fault. Rather, she clearly said that only her father, Robert, would have understood her and nobody else. Lisa's love for her father at times made me wonder what mistakes did I do to not get her love. What shocked me even more, it was the phone call that came today. Lisa's 22 now, and suddenly she called me at my office to ask for $100,000. Yeah, the amount no father will be happy enough to pay. Apparently, my daughter had already completed her engagement with someone we had no idea about. The sudden news was a shock for both Marla and me. I immediately hung up the call after the conversation and called Marla, who was equally shocked, sitting in her office. All that was heard was her sobbing over the telephone. We both decided to leave early and return home as early as possible, but my legs didn't want to move. Not sure why, but my brain was still not ready to believe that she took such a big decision, and we both had zero clues about it. I sat there, my mind was blank except for the face of Lisa appearing right in front of me, and the sound of traffic outside. Lisa was 18 when she graduated high school, and both of us begged her to join college, but she was ready with her plan to go to some unknown place in New York, and even open her own small startup. The idea was crazy as anything, but somehow she managed 2 of her friends to join and fund her. After a lot of shouting, she revealed that one of them funded the whole idea. And exactly that was the reason they were ready to screw their whole life without having the fear of losing anything. So, because somebody was already there to take care of not knowing if they'd get their investment back or not, Marla managed to stop Lisa and her plan. But all along, she kept on working on her idea right from home, and every day we'd hear her shout and tantrums, wanting to leave for New York. One night, as I returned from the office, I found the door locked with a note on the floor, which mentioned the keys were kept under the mat. I opened the door and the rooms were dark. Lights were switched on, it was empty, Lisa was gone. 3 days passed by, but there was no hint of her. This devastated Marla, who blamed herself for not being able to look after and understand her own daughter. Finally, a call came to Marla and we got to know that the 18-year-old silly girl had fled to New York for her startup. We both requested Lisa to return. I comforted her over the call as she cried for her silliness, but she wasn't ready to return. Marla would call her frequently because Lisa did not bother to call us. Her condition worsened as they lost money, not having any idea how the world operated. Just a few months later, they launched their website, but only 10 days down the road, they had to shut their workings as they lost money, and seeing their fall of all the investors pulled their money back. Lisa was adamant she opened a small cafe on the wheels and earned enough to manage her life somehow in New York. Marla did call Lisa frequently, but she didn't speak for more than 30 seconds. I was out of the question as my communication with Lisa kept losing the touch. Lisa, too, did not like to call me or talk to me, so we just stopped talking. Hardly once in a few months did Marla show her just to me in video calls. Life after that changed as Marla wasn't as happy as she would have been with Lisa in the house. But that did not stop me from loving her, since she needed all the care and love at the time. Our bond did not weaken, but got stronger. Marla at times even asked me to forgive Lisa for her behavior as a daughter, something that was already done. Several times, from my side at least. But after today's morning call, some things can be made sense of. Marla did stay in touch with Lisa through Facebook, and in the past few months she saw some posts which, indicated she was dating someone. But only a few posts did not point to anything serious. Now she was in deep trouble, and this wasn't even anything that she can easily come out of. Marla tried calling Lisa right from her own office, and finally, Lisa picked up as Marla kept on calling. Lisa tried to avoid a lot of things, but soon she revealed that she was dating a guy who worked at her cafe. Her cafe grew in the last few years and added a lot more employers. Lisa said nothing as Marla told me later. She just asked for money and told Marla to convince me. Ever since our marriage, I accepted Lisa as my very own daughter. At times, she'd show her anger on me, but none of that mattered since she was my daughter. After her college classes, she'd return upset. We couldn't figure out why. Even Marla would give up when she just wanted ice cream. We'd draw her out of her room, and finally, a few scoops later, she just spit out all the reasons that made her sad, and to go back to her room. Just telling the reasons made her anger calm down a bit. Marla would try to make Lisa understand how to behave with me, even shout at times, but nothing helped. Since love came out of respect and care for one another, there was no point in forcing it. Maybe she indeed could not forget her real father. Maybe she hated me to the core for marrying her mom. But nothing stopped me from trying to win her heart. She was indeed a child for me, who had all the anger and frustration in her, yet she needed a guide in life, and at times I'd remember how my parents were so done with me when they could not tackle me anymore. Coming back to the problem, so we both returned home earlier than on our other days due to the call. Being the first one reaching home, I spent about 1 hour sitting on the living room sofa and staring at the family picture, hanging right on the wall, when Marla entered. Her eyes were red from all the crying that she's done, and she had ran and sat down hugging me. She was so upset that she forgot her daughter secretly got engaged. What bothered her even more was that Lisa had to pay such a big amount. After some time, she got herself together, and we both discussed if there was anything else that we could do. Marla rushed around the house trying to see if she had anything in her bank, but found nothing since we both were paying off the debts of Lisa's student loans and car loans too. Marla was still unaware that right after Lisa called me in the morning, I tried my best to gather all the savings, but the amount was too big, even for me. Well, Lisa indeed got herself into big trouble. Marla decided to call Lisa once again, and this time things turned ugly. Lisa slowly revealed that she went for help from someone else before coming to us. And that was none other than Robert. The name made Marla pause for a little before she could speak any further. Lisa met Robert on the streets of New York earlier, and the daughter reunited with her father after a very long time. Well, Robert, who was still alive, he indeed ran away from his responsibilities and ran to New York, where he met his daughter once again, and Lisa had told him about his boyfriend, their lives and their decision to get married, and even invited him to their engagement, but he didn't come as she mentioned. All information was given to her father, who wasn't even there for her, but nothing came to her mom or me. Marla got angry at Lisa. She heard the story and cut the call. For the first time, this woman had tears as well as anger on her face, and it was justified. The very next morning, she choked on her words as she questioned what mistakes did she make as a parent that Lisa did not care to mention anything. At night, Lisa started calling Marla, but she did not pick up even for once. But that didn't make Lisa call me as she continued calling Marla. Soon she started calling from other numbers, and Marla picked up once, but she hung it up. Marla switched off her phone and went to her bed to sleep, but something in me knew that one call might solve things. That's when my phone rang, and it was Lisa. The first few seconds she said nothing, as if her heavy guilt could be felt right from the phone. Then she stammered, asking once again for the money. This time I asked her everything regarding the incident that happened, and Lisa did answer me. She told me everything. In the end, she hung up, and when asked why she didn't inform her very own mother, I went and laid beside Marla, still in my office clothes, unsure if we wanted to sleep without having dinner. Marla laid with her eyes wide open, uttering just one word in her mouth. Robert. Lisa asked him for the whole of $100,000. And he clearly refused, which shocked her, as she said on the phone. Indeed, it shocked her, since she trusted the man and fought all the battles just for him with her mother. And the same person rejected even a part of the money. Robert was working in a multinational company that was 50 times bigger than Marla and mine combined, yet had nothing to contribute to her biological daughter, huh? Wow. He even gave a cold reply to Lisa and asked her to not disturb him while he's at work. All these complaints were made by Lisa to Marla, who wasn't amazed at all as she was very well known of her ex-husband inside out. We both spent the next half an hour on the bed staring at the ceiling, wondering how our lives were turning upside down. While Marla fell asleep, I decided to call Lisa one last time, hoping things could be saved. She picked up at one go, and then she broke down. Not saying sorry for her behavior towards Marla or for anything, but being worried for her own self. getting a chance to finally question was just thrown at her. Why didn't she let us know? This time I made it clear that I wanted a real answer, not a fake one. The reply shocked me. Lisa planned it all 2 months back. She pre-booked the site and event planners, and we all, just because her fiancé had struck a massive deal with the company, whose payment would have made up for all the spending later. But then the deal got canceled and both got stuck, so Lisa confessed that she called most of her friends and relatives to her ceremony, and even told them not to tell this to me or Marla. Also, she didn't have to call me. And that flashed all the little memories that were spent in my head, with Lisa in front of my eyes. Her fiancé was heard shouting in the background at her, and both even had a small quarrel. All these years, nothing made me feel like an outsider, which was due to Marla, and my efforts to love Lisa, but her plan to not call us, especially me, devastated a part inside. Marla too suffered the consequences because my stepdaughter did not want to see my face. Lisa cried and begged for money from me, but without a second thought, the answer that came out of my mouth was no. Lisa tried her best to beg her way out, but nothing could work as she made me cold and emotionless at the point, just before keeping the call. She asked why we both were doing that to her, and when the same question was thrown back at her, she had no reply to answer. I reminded her of the past when we had spent time together. She tried to quarrel with me about where did all my salary go, and so she got that reply that her loan repayments were still haunting her parents. Without further wasting time, I asked her to try to get money from somewhere else. No help can be provided from our side. Not a single drop of guilt crept through my mind. If she could do all these things without hesitance, it was our duty to teach her a lesson. So am I the a-hole for rejecting to pay my stepdaughter? Update number 1. Hey guys, not sure what gives a certain people, but as of writing this, my mind still cannot process everything that happened. Just 1 week after the engagement of my stepdaughter, something miraculous happened. One morning, the doorbell rang, and it was none other than Lisa herself. Our daughter remembered that we both were alive, although her strutting inside the house did not reflect her sympathy or guilt. Marla called me from my room immediately, and soon we three sat in the living room. Me and Marla and, one side and her on the other. The last time Marla left the house, she was 4 years younger. Her smile wasn't as beautiful as it had changed to be, and she was just a young teenage girl, not a grown-up lady. Yet there she sat, ignorant of our existence and not a single visit in the last 4 years. Leaving the house and not remembering your parents is terrible, especially when they're so supportive of you. But this wasn't the first time Lisa did such a thing. As Marla used to tell me, she did something similar at age 8. Once all of them went to shop with Robert, and the place was really big as usual. Lisa stayed with Robert the whole time as she knew who would buy her things that she wanted. Marla even tried to grab Lisa's hand, but she'd let go of it and run to Robert always. See, Robert wasn't that interested in Lisa, but he was going around trying to find the best wine glasses. He wanted to go to all the floors for his search, but Marla had some shopping left. So, Robert went alone, and so did Lisa with him. While Robert went around searching for his wine glasses, he didn't care much about Lisa, and she went missing. When Robert got back to Marla, they discovered that Lisa was not with him. Both blamed each other, but Marla immediately reported to the mall cops. The search went on for hours, and finally, Lisa was found inside of a makeup shop. Upon reuniting with her, she proudly admitted that it was her own decision to stray away all alone and shop for her own self. Lisa had always been a bit selfish and never really thought about Marla or her worries. Coming back to her visit. Soon the reason for her visit also got clear as she started inquiring about the house shares. She wanted to know if the house was in her name or not. This is when the discomfort on Marla's face was clearly seen rising. and it was sure to rise. The lady forgot whatever she did in the past few days and returned to meet us after so long, with her first question being about the will of the house. That was disgusting to me, at least. Marla clearly said that the house belonged to her, and the tone, asserted her unhappiness with Lisa. Lisa got up and left too soon, but something in her eyes told her that she was not ready to give up so easily. So, after she left, Marla once again started crying, still shocked Lisa had changed so much and didn't even bother to ask about us. She regretted talking like that with her own daughter, but for me, Lisa deserved it. Just 3 days later, 2 men from the bank came to my office with a few questions of their own. They asked about my marital status, my salary, and all sorts of questions. And upon my inquiring, they didn't clearly state the reason for their visit and they simply left. Around the evening, Marla called me. She didn't visit her office as she was sick, and she called me immediately to the house. There sat the same 2 people who visited me in my office earlier. Marla cleared me. She said that they were from the bank, and that her dear daughter had taken the step of taking up a hefty amount of loan by putting our house up as collateral. But both of the representatives were shocked, knowing that the house already had its own mortgage left and could not be used for another loan. Ashamed, both of them left, making sure Lisa did not get the loan, at least from their bank. But the sheer step of putting up her house in danger for her own fault absolutely shocked both of us to our core. How far of a person could go was seriously terrifying. Days passed after that, and everything became quiet, hoping Lisa got her lesson. Update number 2. This update is being written in confusion, as some part of me feels guilty, but another part feels okay. See, Lisa had called off her wedding with the man she loves, a piece of news that was given to us by Marla's cousin's brother, John. He called us and told us everything in detail, how and when it all went down. The wedding was called off just 10 days after she begged us for the huge sum of money. It was a disaster for her. The fiancé shouted and screamed at Lisa, and she told it all to John after she went for him to help. Lisa lived near John, and she had a well-to-do relationship with her cousin, if not the best. As the news was given to us, we both just sat on the sofa and looked at ourselves, very confused looking, dumbfounded, about what we just heard. Lisa was truly an adamant child, and when things did not go her way, she'd call things off and leave them incomplete. But her decision to not marry was not something that we wished or even predicted at this point, hitting us like a sudden big wave. Later that night, Marla called and tried comforting her, although it took several phone calls to finally make her agree to talk about it. Her fiancé did not leave her, but he was upset with her, so he went back to his parents for some time alone. This left Lisa alone for the time being, and Lisa never truly understood the value of anything, and the wedding too did not hold any value for her. So it can be assumed quite safely that her decision did not bother her deep within. Or else she must have never called off the wedding. I knew the value of a life partner, a good partner especially. If Lisa and the boy were dating for long, that truly meant the boy had something true and good inside of him. But everything vanished as she saw trouble in front of her. One must not leave their priorities even in times of crisis. A lot of money went to waste, assuming she had already booked a place and had paid advance to organizers since the wedding was just a couple days later. The effect of a canceled wedding was felt by us as Lisa started calling Marla once every single day. She would just rant about her life. Among all these, her hard feelings for me never changed. Marla tried to hide that Lisa still could not stand me, yet her expression while talking on calls made things obvious. Later, Lisa went on to make the worst decision ever. She took a loan, a terrible loan. She took up a loan with an interest rate as high as 15% annually. Being in the banking field for several years now, as soon as I heard her decision, that made my heart skip a few beats, as she would definitely just be stuck forever. Lisa had zero knowledge about finances except for her small cafe. She didn't even know the basics of loans and interest, but the main problem here is that, well, also the money and time. She had to repay the $100,000 back to the organizers of her engagement ceremony since they all got news of the trouble that she was in, and thus demanded their repayment or she'd have to face severe actions. So, all the factors contributed to the decision that she took. I've seen how banks lure in clients in the name of loans and target the ones who can't easily repay them so they can seize their most valuable asset. The business was corrupt in the States and Lisa was now part of it. She got help from her fiancé and both used his house as collateral for getting the loan. But the interest rate was alarming for anyone to take it up in the first place. Lisa planned to sell the gift that she got, sell her jewelry, and also a part of her small cafe share. All of her plans were shattered and all her assets were gone. At times, life has its way of teaching people a lesson, and maybe this time life took Lisa as its student to teach her some lessons in a tough way. Update number 3, final update posted by OP. A month passed after the wedding was called off. 1 month, which wasn't so smooth. Both Marla and I tried our best to go back to our normal lifestyle since we both spent thinking about what happened in our lives. At times, we'd spend lots of time discussing about the same things over and over again at the dinner table. It took us a couple of weeks to settle when one of Marla's relatives called and showed us Lisa yet another foolishness. Lisa had started ranting about her situation on her social media account, especially on Instagram. She gave stories of her life situation by narrating what happened in her life, but with a pinch of real lie. See, Marla started following her account to stay updated. She would give stories regularly, and in all of the videos, her central target was me. The worst father ever alive. Interestingly, not even for a moment did she mention who was her biological father and where he was. Later, as we got to know, Robert had cut off his communication with his real daughter too, something which did not surprise me at all. Apparently, the last time he met Lisa was when she asked for the money and then did not meet at all. She didn't even see his face anywhere in the places she usually did, but none of those got mentioned in her stories, did they? Lisa's Instagram stories resulted in calls to Marla, where people were lashing out at me, and at times Marla too. That's the power of a fake narrative, y'all. Even after so many years of attachment and care for her, Marla got back what she did not deserve. Marla tried calling Lisa, but she didn't answer, not a single call in the last 2 weeks. But Lisa was back with her life. Her wedding had stopped and most of her assets were under the grip of the bank. I hope she got her lesson, although she only got her financial lesson, not really a moral one, since her behavior towards her parents remained the same. What she did not realize was that if she continued with her behavior, then one day her dream of having children, as she said she wanted to have 2, would also turn into a nightmare. If she became a mom, she'd only transfer the hate and neglect that she had absorbed or made up in her mind, and she'd get back the same thing in twice-fold. Even though everything settled, a part of me did not get feeling good, as the neglect of a daughter towards her father felt terrible. At times, I'd question, did Marla too suffer because of me? Maybe if she were alone, she might have gotten a part of Lisa's loving. But it's also true that people who don't have the wish to change themselves can't be helped by anyone. A month has passed since all the drama happened, and we both are still trying to move ahead on, with the hope that Lisa changes one day. Alright guys, this story was a roller coaster to say the least. OP was put in a rather bizarre situation and peculiar one. In my opinion, I don't really know how I would have handled it. I don't even know if I would have done things much differently because this topic is so bizarre. But guys, I would like to hear from you. If you were sitting there in OP's exact position, knowing every single detail that you know from this story, what would you have done different? Or would you have just done exact to the T that OP did? Drop your thoughts down below. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Hey guys, my name's Mr. Reddito. If you're new to the channel, I animate stories and narrate them every single day. We're talking dramatic stories, Am I the A-hole stories, inheritance disputes, Karen dramas, you name it. I try to find every update, I narrate it, then I animate it. If that sounds like something you're into, guys, subscribe to the channel, check back tomorrow, see what the topic's about. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you then. Oh, peace.